This is Axis and Allies 1914 on the TLS channel and video number 12 in this series. We are with the UK forces and, well, they're ready to start wreaking havoc across both sides of the board. A little bit complicated what they were going to do up in Europe. I'll go through my thinking process. But they've had a fairly quiet time over in India and the Middle East, mainly because of some awkward dice rolls. Let me show you just a few things. Obviously the buy is right in front of us. Infantry, artillery, tank, plane and another transport. They're going to go through on their promise to the French to help them out in Europe. We're going to move this one guy forward. Well, I remember that. But over here in the Mesopotamia kind of region, we have one big booming battleship that's going to move forward into the Suez Canal region and possibly come right the way through to Zone 19 to help any kind of British assault round here if it happens. We're not entirely sure what's going to happen yet. A lot goes on to dice rolls from further afield. From India, there were 6 units in here. They've been split down now. With our usual reinforcement transportation systems, these guys can come through to Mesopotamia. Obviously they can't get involved in an advanced battle forward, but they will be just moving forward on the 2 transport ships that are there. These guys from Persia are moving into Mesopotamia, and the guys from India are moving forward. We haven't made any kind of buy for units in India yet, so we have to be a little bit careful where we attack. And I was thinking about just defending here, but how to that? Let's get ourselves involved in some battles. Ankara is the obvious one. Okay, it's nearest to the Constantine central reinforcement point, but it's worth 3 IPCs. 3 for us, 3 off of them. So that will be a battle that will go on the board. We will move in there. All this infantry, all this artillery. It may look like overkill. It may look like we're not protecting our back door. But obviously with these crew moving in and Persia backing up, I think Syrian desert crew here will have to think about attacking Ankara to secure its 3 IPCs back to them rather than risking a Mesopotamian move where they may or may not get their 3 IPCs back. So it does leave 1, 2, 3, 4 infantry artillery versus 4 infantry artillery. We could tip the balance back into the UK favour by leaving some behind, but I think that's probably more risky than it's worthwhile doing. We want to get Ankara done if we can in 1 or maybe even 2 rolls. I'm going to have to think about getting some more units into India next go, I believe. The other thing that we're going to be doing, big and brave as the Brits are, hardy souls, one and all, is the 2 cruisers are going to go, or they're going to risk the mines, the sea mines, and go into the Adriatic Sea, Zone 18, have a pop at this Austria-Hungary battleship that's here. Reason being, if they can get that done, I mean, the Russians maybe could have done it last or earlier in the turn, didn't really think of too much about it. But with Austria-Hungary getting themselves refocused, if we can take this ship out, it puts pressure on Trieste by the Italians being able to load round and do an amphib assault, and obviously start controlling that area slightly faster than moving units through on the shuffle. But it's a couple of units I'm willing to put at risk at this stage, and they can be the follow-up. Obviously the British battleship down in the Suez Canal region, that could come through if we get into real troubles there in the Med or in the Adriatic. Over onto Europe. This is where it got a little bit tricky. Now, I don't know if you can see, I'll just try and up and over for you. Kiel there is uninhabited. Now, it's not the smartest of moves leaving a region uninhabited, and I was in two minds when playing the Germans whether to bring units into there. It is a tasty target. A couple of these ships could come round into Sea Zone 110 if they survive the mines, which they're going to do 5 out of 6, and drop 4 units into Kiel. They grab 2 IPCs, they eliminate the mines for 1 turn, but they're going to get squashed by Berlin. They may distract Hanover region, etc. But I just think that's a too risky a move for the Brits when they're only loading 4 units in at a time. They have got another ship on its way. That would take time to come across. However, the other thought was to bring the troops which are in Belgium, and there's quite a pile of them just here, move them into Holland and walk them into Kiel. Again, it's going to distract the Germans up on this side. But you're taking 2 IPCs away from a region that's not necessarily that critical in terms of the overall battle. If the Brits, however, can get into Ruhr, that's worth 6 IPCs. Obviously, the French are in there at the moment. They will take the 6 for their bank. The Americans will come through and finish the job off if the Brits don't succeed, and I've got no reason to suspect that the Brits would be badly defeated there, shall we say. So I think it's a good idea to get the Ruhr done. It's 6 IPCs we get, it's 6 IPCs that the Germans don't get. And I say we as the entente, it's the royal we. Other than that, we just have these guys unloading from the French ship. We will leave the flag here to try and remind us to run that ship back again and pick up those guys that are over in Canada waiting to come through. So it will be all the Brits that are here in Belgium rolling into the Ruhr and attacking this small German force of, I think it's 5 artillery, but I have to put my bins on before I see that, and 1 infantry unit. I shall get that up on the board, and I'll see you over there. Oh, quick adjustment before we actually do roll this battle out. I've just remembered, and I've put these down here to remind us. These guys instead, these boats aren't going to go round to there. They're going to load on 4 guys from London into the Belgian region. I've run out of the right coloured ships. These are just substitutes, and I shall sort it all out, make it all neat and tidy once the battle is done. Here it is on the board. It looks fairly even-ish. The British 4 artilleries will increase 4 of their infantries. So we're getting 8 at 3. We can expect 4 hits. With my rolling sometimes 8 out of 8. And we've got slightly above average, that's 5. That one wasn't. 5 hits. That is pretty damn good. And 1 at 2. And gets a hit as well. Oh my. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the Germans defeated in Ruhr in 1 roll. I was being optimistic. It pays off. Optimism rules, that's what I say. So, Germans in reply, half a dozen at 3s. And I'm seeing 4 hits. It's a slight ouch for the Brits, but worse for the Germans by a long, long way. Let me tidy things up, and I will see you for the next battle, which is going to be somewhere, sometime. Well, the board's now been tidied up with all the units in place. The British guy is standing on the French flag. We let the France have the IPCs. I know it's a toss-up between producing the pieces in Britain with those 6 IPCs, loading one, moving them across. They're there in 2 moves, whereas for France they're produced in Paris. They have to go produce Burgundy, Lorraine and come through. It just feels better, I think, that France look after the continent, especially if they're going to be channeling units down south and sweeping into Vienna and up to Berlin. The Brits have had their own help from the French down in Africa, so yeah, it was a 50-50 decision, but I think it's the correct one. We swing round to Sea Zone 18. Nothing's there. That's on the board. For this little navy battle, we have the 2 British cruisers rolling in at 3s. And a defending battleship at 4s with its second life. So we'll roll the Brits first, see if we can get a hit out of it. And they both miss. Not a good start. The battleship defending at fours gets a hit. That's one of the cruisers down. I think discretion being a better part of valour, we can retreat at this point in time, and we should, and wait for the Russians to come, because they do still get a turn, even though they can't produce units. We can use their two cruisers and one battleship in the Med to come in and try to get Sea Zone 18 clear for the Italians. In case you're not an Axis as Allies 1914 player, this unit that's broken off from the battle in Sea Zone 18 remains in the same sea zone. It's different to other versions where you have to retreat to a different sea zone. They remain there, pending a movement or an attack from Austria-Hungary, which, well, pretty much may well come, I'm thinking. However, let's have a look at the Ankara region. I've tidied it up over here. Units have come through. We still have the 4+4 in Mesopotamia. Boats are still here. It's this attack here versus Ankara. We're hoping that the Brits can come through and do a massive job here. They certainly have the numbers for it. On the board, it looks good. But of course, when you start rolling the dice, everything can go belly up. They have air superiority, which raises their infantry, or their artillery up to 4s, and their artillery raises the infantry up to 3s. So I'm hoping we can one roll this like we did in the Ruhr. That was massive. And the plane gets a hit. Hey, that doesn't happen very often. Be proud of that. 5 artilleries at 4. One's rolled off the board. And that gets 3 hits. We are close to one rolling this again. Man alive. All the infantry supported at 3s, and we get 3 hits. I think that's done. We'll let the artillery, the naked infantry, shoot their guns and get a hit as well. Yeah, nice. Brits are on the rampage, like a bunch of Millwall supporters at an Arsenal game. The Ottomans. Oh my goodness. That's quite good. That's 5 in reply. That's going to hurt the Brits a little bit. Clearly not as much as that the Brits have hurt them. However, it may compromise the buy next turn for the Brits, making sure they got enough units to hold on to their advances. Well, the Ottoman buy on turn 6, it's very simply just infantry. I've split them down into 2s and 3s for a simple reason. They're going to be moved on the shuffle when we place them anyhow. It's looking horrible for them now. Bunch of French guys here, possibly pointing their guns at the Brits, saying, "Monsieur, get on with it." But maybe not. It's horrible for them. The Brits are coming in from Mesopotamia, from Ankara. Syrian desert's really their last stronghold. Whether they will push back or not, I was in 2 minds. It would create a small hole, but you are really rolling a 50-50 battle there. If they succeed with a massive great hit, Brits have still got Persia could come through into Mesopotamia and fill that hole back in again. They may be able to grab those 3 IPCs that Mesopotamia is worth. Yes, 3 IPCs. Just checking. However, I think Ottoman's only job now really is to hang on and hope that the Brits get too distracted with filling up Europe with their IPCs and let them get some kind of rebuild. They are, however, doing a little movement of a couple of units from Constantinople into Bulgaria, just to perhaps keep these Italians at bay. So rather than splitting the pack down, they built in there 2 guys from here moving to Croatia, Bulgaria, and the other 3 guys are built into Constantinople. After that will be the Italians. Let's have a look what they're going to be doing. Well, the Italians themselves, they are going to buy just the 6 infantry units from their 18 IPCs, moving the guy from Sudan into Egypt. I thought he must have got further on than that, but obviously I've been a bit tardy with that. We're going to be moving the guys here that are in Greece We're going to move the artillery into Albania, not on its own. It's going to be met by these two guys from Naples coming over on the boat. Now, it's not necessarily a hostile move against Serbia, it's a hostile move against Trieste, because there's been a hiccup with the Italian supply line. As you can see here, just the 1 infantry artillery in Tuscany, we have to move units into Tyrolia. We just got to. There are a few Austro-Hungarians there, clearly. That's going to reinforce that region just enough. That doesn't reinforce that region just enough by any means possible. It just doesn't. Rome can come through to Tuscany. We have a hole. But if we move units this way around, it does mean that Trieste have to look after their back door. Again, it's not a battling move. The Ottomans couldn't do battle. I don't really think that the Italians are in any place to press that attack forward because of all these units in Vienna. We are sort of on a holding pattern at the moment, hoping that the Allies can do it. The rest of the Allies within the Entente can come forward and put so much pressure here that the pressure is taken off of Italy and Rome itself eventually. So next up is going to be the Americans. I'm not sure they're going to be battling either because their units are all locked into Belgium, except of course what we could do with the Americans is move them into Holland. That is quite a good move, I think. Giving them something to do. They have, if we can see up here, 6 infantry and 4 artillery and a couple of planes. They will smash Holland out of the water, put a lot of pressure on Kiel now. This is looking very much like an Allied victory. I'll sort the American buyout and then we'll do that for sure. Well, I've given it some thinking, and yes, America attacking Holland is the right choice. They've got quite a big buy down here, quite expensive buy, but if you remember from last round, they didn't bother spending any money. It was superfluous. They're going to get themselves some more transport, infantry, artillery, and they're going to be moving their transport units back 1, 2 into Sea Zone 7. They will eventually get back to America and pick up these tanks that have been sitting there rusting on the docks. All these units here into Holland, all those guys in Holland going, mein Gott! It looks horrible for them. America with double air superiority, although it doesn't double up their dice, just moves things up a wee bit. They get 2 at 2 with their planes at first, and both of them miss. They get 4 at 4, and the Americans get 2 hits, or inflict 2 hits, and 4 at 3 to finish them off, which they do entirely. Their infantry guys can keep on drinking their cups of joe. In reply, the Americans, in reply, the Germans at 3s get just the 1 hit on target. So I shall divvy all that up. That will be the end of round 6 and video number 12. I will see you in video number 13, unlucky for some, where we'll be starting off with Austria-Hungary. Possibly looking at running around the Russian regions and picking up as many IPCs as they can, and also coming back at will it be Italy? Will it be France? They've got to get through the Italians before they can get to France. What's their biggest target? I think Italy isn't a victory city, but they have to withhold this onslaught from the Entente. I'll see you then.